Okay, I will talk about the field work that I've been doing the last few years, which from which I have data which does suggest that dam and climate change accelerate the abortion of the channel in the Burdekin Delta and the erosion of Cape Bollington. And that work would not have been possible without the help of three people, Mr. Chris Canavan, Mr. Paul Babs, and Mr. Chris Hopper, who are there. Next slide, please. The key point that I will make is that sand entering the delta, the lower river, is no longer all being moved to the sea because the peak flows have been reduced by the Burdekin Falls Dam, and this has resulted in 1 to 4 meter rise in the bed level of the river. And this results in a 1 to 1.5 meter rise in the flood level in the critical zone. And this has the potential to accelerate normal abortion of the channel from 1 every 1,000 years to 1 every 50 to 100 years. Cape Bollington is rapidly being washed away. The erosion shows strong evidence of responding dynamically to flows in the present day in the river. This very strongly suggests that the Cape Bollington is being starved of sand due to the dam-induced trapping of sand in the delta. And the Cape has started to breach 2 months ago. So, and I base all that on a lot of field work, a lot of field data, some out of satellite, some from ships, some from drone, with the help of Mr. Chris Hopper, Paul Bass, and also Chris Canavan. Next slide, please. So the first point of my talk is on the accumulation of the sediment in the lower Burdekin. So in this area. Next slide, please. So I will come forward to the next talk of Stephen Lewis, but he will show us there is high variability of the flow of the river. But the dam has diminished the flood peak from short duration of the flood event, but it made them last longer. The dam has not diminished the flood peak from long term event monsoon rain like in 1991. The dam traps more than 90% of the sand. So that's not coming down in the delta, but there's still sand that's coming from the side downstream of the dam, basically from the Bowen and also the Bowie River. Now, please remember that sand transport in the river is basically proportional to the force power of the speed and the slope. So a small decrease in the speed of this amount, 25%, halves the sand transport. So sand is not moved, it will fall at the bottom. So upstream of the delta, the slope is quite large and the sand moves right through the delta. But in the delta, the slope is very small and the speed then has been significantly decreased by the dam. So this is the data of the peak of the flow, the main daily flow before and after the dam. And it's quite clear that on the average, the flow velocity and then the speed has decreased. So you expect sedimentation in the delta. Next slide, please. And indeed, we find extremely rapid sedimentation of the riverbed in the lower delta. It has risen by 1 to 4 meters since 2009. So those maps shows where we have data, the cross section, upstream and downstream of the bridge. Some data we have collected ourselves with Mr. Chris Potter, and some there were data which we got from NQ by Tropics, and the blue is the 2009 and the red is 2018. We did another survey from 2017 to 2021, and it has come up. It has come up another meter. Now, this is not a surprise because a very similar scenario occurred in the old river in Western Australia after the construction of the dam, where the bed has come up by up to 5 meters and the width has shrunk by half. So it is not a surprise. Next slide, please. And the flat relief channel, basically the Prof Creek and also the Anna Bridge have also silted. So this is much too fast for natural hydrology, where you have a new channel that is forming every 1,000 years. This is really going too fast. So it is a dam-induced, it's due to the dam. All the measurement of the sand are done at the bridge, into the bridge. But because it's silting, especially downstream of the bridge, but also upstream of the bridge, this data show that much of the sand does not reach the sea. And I apply a one-dimensional the flat routing model I used when I was an engineer at SMEC, and it shows that this did result in a rise of 1 to 1.5 meter in the flat level from point C to point X. And this point X, I will come back to it because it's where a real drama might occur in the future. Next slide, please. So what would happen if there is a rise in the flood level because the bed is silted and the flood because of the dam lasts longer? Well, the bank erosion is the picture from the drone at side X. It's very intense. You have the cliff has basically collapsed, largely being cut at the bottom, but at the top. And we are down at that spot that the cliff is only 1 to 2 meter, 1 to 2 meter from the levee, the natural levee. And if the flood water at the next big flood, breach what's left there. You will flow of the water in a flood will flow basically freely to the breach. The land is sloping away from the levee going down, and this could start a migration of a new shorter channel to the sea. And do we need this here? It's in here because it blocks the view. But anyway, so it will come from side X, and it will go toward the east and reach the sea in a much shorter channel. Next slide, please. And how it will happen? Can you click on the movie on the right, on the left, please? Yes. It's clever when I have to go.
I have to change just one second.
When you flood the land, you've got basically air bubble rise to the front. It is very dynamic, it's very strong, and it basically, in a few hours, make a whole erosion hole, which makes a waterfall that picks up the soil even faster. And it quickly forms a new channel. You can see all the holes there being joined. And that's formed in one night. It's a very rapid process. Next slide, please. So, what I think could happen, I would imagine it might happen in Silex, but I don't know, is that at the next big flood, you will have a very rapid the soil erosion, liquefaction of the soil, which will dig a new channel, and it might come along this route. So basically, the risk of a channel abortion has gone from 1 every 500 to 1,000 years to 1 every 50 to 100 years. This new channel could form based on what we have seen in Pakistan, in China, and other places. It could dig up itself through this process at a speed of 10 to 15 kilometers per day, which means it could form in a day and a half. It will endanger human life and the livelihood, the environment, and even national security, because as we have seen in the Russian war, you need a train to move heavy here like tanks. There is only the one railway line comes there, and that will be cut. Next slide, please. Okay, the next point I discussed is what's happening in the clear boiling during the erosion. Next slide, please. Field observation. I had 2 trips on boats, and we walked on the land in 2011 and a few months ago, showed that it is basically eroding everywhere. But when we launched the boat on the Nava beach all the way to the Cape, everywhere you got cliff in the sand, you got the trees have been killed, trees on the beach. Some of the beach houses that were built that had a sand, a long beach in front of them are now under, have now got the foundation underwater at the beach. The rate of erosion, if we compare the data from 1990 to 2019, is 30 It's very typically 4 meters per year. That's the edge of the trees. Of course, they don't move as fast as the sand erosion because even if the tree is dead, you still got the roots which lock the soil. But the sand is moving much faster with a rate of erosion 25 meters per year, and the slope has also steepened. This is much too fast for physical, the natural geomorphology. It's the dam-induced sand establishment of the coast. Next slide, please. Okay, be quick. There are other effects which is going on with the daily discharge, but my time is limited. I want to show that when the dam was built, remember it filled in 1 year. Everybody jumped for joy, we got water, but it has killed that flood, and it started the erosion. As soon as the dam was built, it got that flood. There was an increase in the width. Oh yeah, that's width at this point there. You can see the view in 2011 and in 2020. Oh, it is shrinking width. After the 1991 flood, it went up a bit in width, and now it's on the way down. It's now less than half of the width of the tennis court. Next slide, please. So we have I built a budget based on all the data. Lewis had not forgotten which I've been using that. But one key process is that sand is being trapped in the delta, and so you're being hit twice. Sand build the delta, you have a rise in the flood level, and you're risking the formation in the channel. You start the coast and you lose some cabling green. Next slide, please. First, so the main process of cabling green is that every time you got a strong wind, you move sand along. Move sand and it waits for the next phase of wind, moves again. And so if you have a balance, you need the sand supply, which I call Q1. If you lose that sand supply, that's the line at the bottom. Sand supply is less than the sand flux, then you lose your beach. We have a bit of modeling, the sand model. For the sand transport, it's moving in a very narrow band. There's no sand inflow coming from the coast in the bed of the Kangara. So because of sand trapping in the delta, there's not enough sand from the Burdekin River that can supply the sand flux due to the wave erosion. So now the flux of sand comes from the beach erosion. Next slide, please. And we have done a few transects, ABC, 2009 and 2022. It's starting to breach. There's breach there. You can see that all the plants have been washed away. You can see tons of sand that are moving into the microbes at the back in the bay. There was a sand dune there, 2009, which was about 5 to 6 meters high. That's all washed away. Now you are left with a small dune at the back of 2 to 2.8 meter. So the speed has lost much of its height elevation, and also it has cut down in width. And so the now to bridge is very easy, as the crest of the dune is at the level of the highest tide. So it just needs a bit of wave and it goes on top. Next slide. What happened in Cape Bowling Green? What happened in Bowling Green Bay? We think that will bridge here. We don't really know. We have a black marlin here, the only spot on the coast where the black marlin comes. All the other spots are on the reef on the north. So it is a very important resource. We don't know what will happen. We can make a guess of what will happen to the fish if that's found in the coast. If you could play the two movies at the same time. Yeah. So this animation from the Smith model, what would happen to the fish larva in calm weather? So that's found here after so many days, like a fish larva, you lose a lot, but what can come back and what can basically recruit in with the mangrove is what they can swim back. You can see you have lost 2/3 of time. So you are down to the fish recruitment of 1/3. It will be a major change in the fishing population. Okay, last slide. So on the field data, I would suggest that the diamonds downstream impact that may include then speeding up the erosion of the channel, which will threaten human life, livelihood, the environment, and national security. And it is eroding Cape Bowling Green, which would degrade Bowling Green Bay and inside around the site. You need urgently some type of measure, which is that's what we are. Now, I want to repeat that this is not a surprise. It has happened in the old river. And when you consider the cost of the further dam, keep that in mind. That you have to think of all the costs which you don't think when you just look at the water balance. Next slide is the last one. So thank you note.